how the historical events during the making of Canada still affect Indigenous people today. First, who are the Indigenous peoples of Canada? These people are the root of Canadian history. Canada has hundreds of distinct nations with their own languages, cultures, and traditions. First Nations include Cree, Ojibwe, Dene, Anishinaabe, and Dakota, and so many more. In northern Canada, we have the Inuit peoples, and in the prairies, where we have the Métis people, who are mixed of European and Indigenous ancestry. Arrival of settlers. Some explorers and people, such as the Vikings, had tried to settle into Canada before the French, but didn't stay long. Samuel de Champlain founded Quebec City in 1608. At first, some Indigenous peoples and settlers helped each other by trading and sharing knowledge, but over time, things became unfair and harmful to Indigenous communities. More settlers came and they wanted land. This led to agreements called treaties. Treaties were supposed to be fair agreements where Indigenous peoples shared the land and settlers promised things like support, respect, and the right to continue their way of life. However, over time, these promises were broken. An impactful law was created in 1876 called the Indian Act. This law gave the government control over many parts of First Nations people's lives. For example, it controlled where they could live, how they were governed, and whether they could practice their traditions. Unfortunately, the Indian Act is still in place today, though it's been changed a lot and many things have been removed. One of the most harmful parts of history was something called residential schools. For over 100 years, Indigenous children were taken away from their families and sent to these schools. They were often far from home at these schools. They were not allowed to speak their own languages or practice their cultures. Many children were lonely, scared, and treated very badly. The schools started in 1826 and were around all the way until 1997. Many children grew up without learning their traditions or being close to their families. This caused deep sadness and pain that didn't just affect them, it affected their children and their grandchildren too. This is sometimes called intergenerational trauma, which means hurt is passed down over time. Due to the Indian Act, Indigenous people were also forced off of their traditional lands and onto smaller areas called reserves. This made it harder to hunt, fish, and live the way they had for generations. These reserves are still all around today, and the quality of life on them isn't always good. They are often remote and have a very large issue with access to clean and safe water. Racism. Racism is when people are treated unfairly or meanly because of who they are, like the color of their skin, their culture, or their background. Indigenous people in Canada, like the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis, sometimes face racism today. This can happen when people say hurtful things, believe wrong stereotypes about them, or treat them unfairly in schools, stores, or at work. Sometimes it can also happen in bigger systems, like hospitals or schools, where Indigenous people don't get the same help or opportunities as others. Racism is wrong because it makes people feel sad, scared, or left out. That's why it's important to be kind, listen, and learn about different cultures, just like how you guys are learning about it today. Today, Canada has worked very hard towards healing and reconciliation towards the harms that Indigenous people have faced. We now have Truth and Reconciliation Day on September 30th. Reconciliation means working together to make things better. It means learning the truth about history, respecting Indigenous peoples, and making sure everyone is treated fairly. You can be a part of reconciliation too. You can listen, learn, ask questions, and show respect for Indigenous cultures and communities. Despite these challenges we talked about today, Indigenous peoples have shown incredible strength and resilience. They've worked hard to protect and bring back their languages, cultures, and traditions. Today, many communities are teaching their languages in schools, celebrating their cultures, and sharing knowledge with others. Every small action, like being kind, curious, and respectful, can help build a better future for everyone. Thank you so much for listening.